Hi, this is Robert Clickybeard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. We're going to take about 30 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders, business owners, to provide you some great Ironman mindsets to help you scale your business, to become a better leader and push yourself out of a comfort zone into something that's going to stretch you. We hope you really enjoy these shows and encourage you to like and share with your friends, your network, family members. Try and get a wider audience and improve our industry. On each show, I'm going to try and pull out one type of Ironman mindset, insight that you can take back to your business. And if you're implementing one insight every single week or all the shows, then it's going to make a dramatic improvement to your business. Super excited as well to share that we're partnering up with Boss Business Management Software, which is the ultimate cloud-based solution providing comprehensive insights and tools to optimize performance. Join the Boss community today and transform your business so you too can say, my boss is working for me. Cheers, everyone. Hi, this is Robert Clickybeard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. Really excited today to be joined by Warren Gorowitz. Warren, thank you for joining the show today.
Thanks, Robert, for having me. I appreciate it.
So I know a lot of people know you in the industry, but we do have listeners from quite a few places around the world. So tell us a little bit, Warren. Tell us a bit about your background.
Sure, happy to give some insight into what makes me tick a little bit. So this is my 30th year in the irrigation and landscape industry. So now I've just dated myself.
You look great, Warren. You look great.
It's amazing with what you can do with AI. I started in this industry actually not included in those 30 years professionally in the industry, but I grew up in Los Angeles and I lived right across the street from a golf course. Used to be the busiest golf course in the United States, over 500,000 rounds a year played. And at 14, I thought I wanted to decide. And so I went to go work on that golf course. And that really is what started me kind of getting interested in the whole green industry as a whole. And I had a great experience working there. And working a couple senior PGA and LPGA tournaments. It led me to work across the street at a country club, private country club. So I got to see public versus private. And my background and my undergraduate degrees in what used to be called Ornamental Horticulture. Now they have some fancy names, like I think it's Environmental Horticultural Science. It sounds a lot sexier than Ornamental Horticulture. And I intended to become a golf course superintendent. My undergraduate was from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I intended to become a golf course superintendent. At college, I sold computers. I'm a techie person. I'm really always been someone interested in technology, trying things out, usually before, early adopter for sure. And I sold computers in the bookstore selling at college, and that got me interested in sales and working with people, and had an opportunity to go straight from college to start working at Ewing at the time, Ewing Irrigation Products. Now they're known as Ewing Outdoor Supply. And that began my career in the irrigation industry professionally. And I spent 25 years working at Ewing and started doing sales, everything from sales for the golf side of irrigation to running a branch to ultimately, I got interested in water conservation, which will lead me to where I am today, really by a product called, and I have one of the original ones right here, the MP Rotator. Literally, this product was, before it was even introduced, long before Hunter was manufacturing it. Ewing was looked at and started talking to the Walla Walla Sprinkler Company to become the first distributor for this product. And that really sparked an interest in me in water conservation and led my journey in water conservation. And I won't give you all the whole story, but ultimately got me interested in sustainability, which is, I'm working my way to where I am now. And in 2015, I went back to school and I got my master's in sustainability leadership at Arizona State University. And that, gave me a really great opportunity to learn about sustainability from outside of our industry. Nobody was really talking about sustainability back then in our industry per se. But I realized that it's, and I'm not telling you I had a crystal ball that it was going to become so important, but I could tell that this was going to impact our industry. And to that point, like I always say this, we work in the original green industry. We were green before anybody else was talking about, how being green. And that I think that's actually something I focused on during my capstone project at ASU. And I think that there's so many great benefits of what we do every day and as an industry that I hopefully will talk a little bit more about that. So through my developing an interest in sustainability and kind of creating that program at Ewing and being focused on two sides, on the sustainable solution side, so products that help for sustainable landscaping and managing some vendors and different kind of things, and then developing Ewing's sustainability program as well internally. And then in 2019, in August of 2019, so almost coming up on my 5-year anniversary at Hunter, I joined Hunter and came into a very mature program around sustainability, or what Hunter has been calling corporate social responsibility. We're actually in the process of doing some rebranding and changing that a little bit, changing the messaging a little bit. But really coming into a manufacturer knowing nothing about manufacturing at all. Because as a distributor, where I spent the first 25 years of my career, products show up, we buy them, they show up at the distributor or the warehouse, we sell them to contractors, we help provide support, get paid for it, and the cycle continues. And I had no idea what goes into the complexity of manufacturing. And then you add in the pandemic, and I spent 1.5 years working from home, fortunately that I could do that. But our business kept running despite the pandemic. Like, we were only closed for 2 days because we were deemed an essential business. And then first priority, more important than anything else, was taking care of our employees and making sure they were safe. And then we all know what happened to the green industry and the landscape industry during the pandemic, how we went from, are we going to survive, to how we had this huge boom because, hey, I used to travel in my last job 160 days a year. I was on the road, and I spent 1.5 years. I didn't even get on an airplane for 1.5 years, and I spent time at home. And like everybody else, I need to work on my yard, and that really cemented a lot of things. And the other thing I'll mention about my background, you didn't ask me to do it too shortly, but is that I've been really involved in industry associations for my whole career. And so I mentioned, I was involved, well, actually I didn't mention, but been involved in industry associations, started with California Landscape Contractors Association. I spent, 7 years on the board for the Irrigation Association. I was president of the Irrigation Association in 2018. And then, and continue to be involved. I'm on the board for National Association of Landscape Professionals, NALP, Sports Field Management Association, SFMA. It's just something that's really important to me. That's something that I take a lot of pride in. And I also appreciate the fact that throughout my career at Ewing and then here at Hunter that I'm given the time to spend on that. But it's so important from an industry standpoint. It's so easy to think that everybody is going to take care of all the challenges that we face as an industry. And these organizations have played such an important role at our livelihood and protecting our livelihood as well. And so that's one of the other things that has been really important to me throughout my career.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I know that I think on our last call, we did talk about, how we both were in Phoenix around about the same time. We did a great podcast with Doug York, with obviously CEO of Ewing, a month or so ago. And so, I think our cross have passed several times. And I was actually talking about being part of organizations, which I think are a huge part of the industry. I was president of the Arizona Landscape Contractors Association. And I was heavily involved in the Sustainable Landscape Management Program there, just to sort of help with that education of contractors. And super inspiring being part of that and being able to sort of help educate some of the contractors, because they're typically just working heads down, trying to get work done. But I think it's only through, the organizations you're part of, or we're part of, the associations you're now part of with NALP, those are the ones that sort of help lift the heads of the contractors and sort of try and show them some of the maybe better practices out there. So to talk a little bit more about, what contractor maybe listening to this and say, hey, I'd love to reach out to Warren. How would that work in terms of, ways in which you can help to get them better educated?
In regards to sustainability or that kind of area. I mean, first of all, unfortunately, sustainability as a whole has been politicized a lot, and we're not going to spend time talking about the whole political nature of life anymore. Right. But I say that just because I think, some of what we're trying to do is kind of been hijacked by some of the political parties a little bit and turned into things that tend to make things very divisive against people who maybe don't believe exactly the same way you do. I remember in my early time at Ewing when I started talking about sustainability and wanting to focus on it, I was branded the tree hugger, here comes Warren. We better not print out any paper because Warren's coming or even to this day, we have plastic water bottles in our meetings, Warren's here kind of thing. And first of all, I'm a realist too. I'm not this person that has this unrealistic expectations that everything has to be done exactly perfectly. Like you have to, at the end of the day, of course, we all have businesses that we are running or working in, and we have to be profitable. That's a part of sustainability too, is profit. And then the whole financial side of sustainability, that we have businesses that need to continue to thrive for the long, for the future, and also for our employees and providing career opportunities and growth opportunities for our employees. And so that, I mentioned that because I'm a kind of a realist, but I think like I kind of teased a little bit earlier when I was during my introduction is the industry that we work in, the green spaces that we create every day that bring people and connect them with the outdoors are so important. And part of it for me is just telling that story a little bit and making sure that we're, I remember in high school telling my friends in high school in LA that I was going to study horticulture. And first thing they said is, oh, you're going to be one of those people that goes to Disneyland, works at Disneyland, and you're going to shape all the hedges into animal shapes. That's what a horticulturalist is. Or I also remember other friends saying, oh, you're going to become a gardener. That's what you're going to do. And again, I think benefit of COVID, benefit of even some of this environmental things that are going on is it's bringing more attention, sometimes not always in a good way, but on this positive side, it's bringing more attention to the value of what our industry does every day. And so that's my number one thing is like, share that information with your clients, tell them, and then, think about what things you can do within your own business to be more mindful of your impact on the environment. Again, I could go on the extreme side and say, we shouldn't be using these products or this type of products or whatever. And I don't think that ultimately is going to accomplish what we want to accomplish as a whole, which is having a thriving industry for the future. And then, we're not perfect as an industry, for sure. I think we have a lot of challenges with water specifically, as we know, and whatever you believe in what's going on in the climate, you can call it whatever you want, definitely has an impact on our business and our industry, whether it's hurricanes and floods to droughts and things like that, to fires and so forth. But we have to be mindful that we are, in order to keep our green spaces thriving, like we're using a very precious resource. In some parts of the country, it's not as finite as it may be where I am and where you were, in the Southwest, where like water is really a focus. Some places like, oh, we've got these big lakes and we have plenty of rain and we have all the water we need. It still doesn't mean that we shouldn't be mindful of how we use it. And so I think there's improvements that we can do as an industry. And that's where I think as manufacturers and as associations with training and things like that, we come into play to help with that. Technology has definitely changed how we irrigate. Even though if we went back to the fundamentals, they're still extremely important. You can't just rely on technology for that, but just even understanding and measuring the amount of water that we use in an irrigation system with flow sensors and things like that. So being able to not be afraid of technology to bring that into your business, I think is another recommendation I have as well. I still believe, for as long as I'm on this earth, that the technology is not going to replace us completely in our industry. You still need somebody that's out, seeing, touching, feeling the landscape, and being aware of and making sure that, and also interfacing with customers. That can't all be done with chatbots, I don't think. So I think that provides a lot of opportunities for us, but the technology can make us more efficient and help us do our jobs more efficiently and maybe quicker, and maybe allow us to spend more time on other things that are important to continuing to grow our businesses.
Yeah, no, and I think you touched on a couple of important points there. The technology piece, and then you talked about that, I suppose, that stigma that the industry has and how it has been improving during COVID. I think a lot of companies struggle attracting new talent into the business, but when you look at two key things that pop into my head, you're working in this amazing environment. I always think back about when I had my company and we had a picture of a standing desk and maybe a laptop, but that desk would be outside. Because what I'm trying to convey is that here you are, your office is effectively that outdoor environment. What better environment can you get than sitting in some cubicle? But then, when you throw in the technology piece, where you can get some of these young upcoming people from college that are into IT, that there's the technology with the data coming from irrigation. It could be data coming from GPS.
How about drones? I mean, drones, think about how cool drones are to help our industry too.
Yeah. And all the ERP systems out there. I mean, there's just so much data there. And, I don't think we're quite even touched on how we could connect the dots there.
Yeah. And, to your point too about our industry that I also reflect on a lot is, my friends from high school, most of them haven't been in the same industry their whole career, at least the ones that I still talk to. And I also feel like, in general, anybody that I talk to in the green industry, they like what they do, because we get, to your point, we get to work outside. We're working with, nature in some capacity. And I don't think that you can say that about a lot of other professions. And I think, I think there's so many different opportunities for career opportunities in our industry that are available to people, to your point, from the technology side to the just, somebody that likes to be outside maintaining landscapes.
Yeah, that's so true. So, any other, what are some of the, I suppose, what does your day look like? I mean, are you in conversation with contractors? I mean, how do they approach you? Or are you sort of reaching out to certain parts of the country? I'd love to just hear a little bit more about, I suppose, what you do on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis.
I probably don't have enough time to talk about what I do on a typical day, but I'll try to summarize it. A lot of my time is spent on all of our internal efforts around reducing our environmental footprint. So working on projects like we're putting more solar on our manufacturing campuses, or working with our engineering teams to reduce the scrap waste when we produce products during the manufacturing process. And then also the things that one of the other parts of my job that I really enjoy is how we support the communities that we live, work, and play in. And so getting a chance to go be involved with nonprofit organizations, and we actually provide grants to nonprofit organizations. But that part of my job doesn't interface necessarily as much with the end user who's using our products, which is why the other part of my job is being involved in the associations and going to trade shows and speaking at conferences and talking about sustainability and talking about irrigation and learning from our customers too. I mean, that's the thing that I enjoy the most. That's one of the things that I probably miss the most, is that I'm not out in the field as much as I used to be. But when I have the opportunity, I love getting a chance to just talk with contractors and hear from them, see where their pain points are, and share some of what I think has the potential to help people. And then also bring that information back to our organization too, if there's specific pain points around products and things like that, or opportunities for new technology, new products, and so forth. So that's kind of what I do on a typical day. Although, like I said, every day seems to be Now in the sustainability space, reporting and compliance, which is happening a lot in business, but it's become a lot more time consuming. So I spend quite a bit of time on that.
Right.
And we're actually getting asked a lot of those questions by our customers now, by contractors, by distributors, wanting to know, like, what are you doing as a business to make sure that you're managing your environmental footprint, and how are you making sure that you're providing products to help people use less resources? And so we're seeing a lot of that, especially outside the U.S. We're getting a lot more questions about that from outside the U.S., but I think it's just a matter of time that it's kind of on people's minds. And so, the other thing that I like about our industry as a whole, whether it's on the contracting side or definitely on the sustainability side as well, is that everybody's always comfortable sharing their insight and their knowledge to help everybody. The rising tide lifts all boats kind of comment. Like, we're trying to help each other be successful. And so I rely on that a lot. And I'm involved in some other associations that are just made up, that are primarily sustainability people like myself at other manufacturing companies, so we can share ideas. And these are much bigger and different industry, bigger manufacturing companies, and getting a chance to learn from the things that they're doing as well is super helpful. And also being able to bring that down and relate that to our customers too, where it's appropriate.
Yeah. No, that I can relate a lot to that. We actually had a guest on probably, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, Gary Alden, with a company back in the UK, but Carbon Happy, and he just talked about the carbon footprint reducing, and it just seems to be a lot bigger emphasis across in Europe. But I think you made a good point there, that you're beginning to get more and more inquiries from places out of the States. But that wave is slowly moving across.
It definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is. And so we're thinking about, like, how do we manage our carbon footprint of our products? We're even being asked those questions, like, what is the carbon footprint of a typical sprinkler? And it's not like you can just plug something in a computer. You got to get a lot of information from throughout the whole organization to understand that. But those are the kinds of things, that we are focusing on. And I see that as things that you're going to see happening more and more in our industry. It's definitely becoming more requested information on the design side from the landscape architects. We're seeing a lot more requests for that kind of information there. And that's even in the US as well.
I think I'd be fair in saying sometimes our industry can be a little bit slow to adopt. They almost let people try, test it. Once they've got all the kinks out, then they'll jump into it. I mean, is that a fair comment? And how can we get a bigger or quicker adoption with some of these practices?
Yeah, I would say it is a fair comment. I feel like at times we wait till we're required to do something before we do it as an industry. Not all of them requirements are good. I get that. But a lot of times that sometimes pushes people. I mean, I remember early on with the smart irrigation technology, like on the controller side, I mean, it took a long time for our industry to really start adopting that and realizing how it's beneficial, can help their business and help, how helpful it is to the business from a labor standpoint, on top of just using less water as an example. I think that's one of the benefits of going to conferences from the associations and trade shows, is getting a chance to see and talk and learn about the technology and see what's out there. But I would say don't be afraid to try it. And because I also feel like those that are going to be long-term successful in our industry are going to be ones that are leading with it. I mean, I think that's something that has always been important to me, is like, you kind of have to, you can't wait you can't be the last one to adopt something, in my opinion. Do you need to be cutting edge and be the first one? Well, that's up to you. Like I said, I'm an early adopter for technology stuff, but from a business standpoint, yeah, I mean, I think you need to look at how you can use it to your advantage, and then tell people about it. Like I mentioned early on, like, you need to use it as a marketing opportunity too. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think there's a general myth that you think, becoming more sustainable, you have to be all in as of day one. But I think if you start to learn and start to adopt and just make small incremental changes, then you're at least making headway in it. Now,
Yes.
going back to my point earlier about, either attracting or retaining employees, if you have some type of a program around sustainability, that can help in both aspects of it. And even, you don't necessarily have to hire somebody solely dedicated to that, but if you have a millennial or some other Gen Z where maybe that's part of their job, where they're just keeping an eye out, they're holding you a little bit accountable, and having some type of a measure on what you're doing every year. So I just think there's a lot of quick, easy solutions here. And even last night I was doing a presentation around, what can your company do to be unique or be a differentiator in your marketplace? And I don't see many companies offer, messaging around sustainability. So I think that could be a good way to just, show out amongst the crowd.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, a couple of points that made me think about that sustainability is a journey. It's not a check a box and you're done and I'm a sustainable company. And the way I look at it too, even when I talk about this a lot internally, is if I'm doing my job, then I'm working my way out of a job. Not literally, but the fact is that it's not just me and my department or my team that are going to do everything around sustainability for our company. And it should be it's the same in every business. It takes everybody working together on that. And to your point, you don't have to start and pick and go all in right at the beginning. I know, we talk to, I talk a lot to our HR team and department about new employees, especially the younger generation coming into any business. This is something that's a value to them. They want to know what are you doing as a company? How are you helping the community? What are you doing to be mindful of what your impact on the environment? I mean, these are things that we see a lot. Those questions get asked a lot during the interview process in all different kinds of positions. So again, what better thing to be in the landscape industry when you talk about sustainability? Because it's really what we do.
Yeah, 100%. Coming up to time here, Warren, how can people get in touch with you, learn a little bit more from you, just see if they want to start that journey, as you say? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Sure. You can find me on LinkedIn if you want to start there. You can reach out to me. I think if you want to provide any like an email address or something like that as part of the notes for this podcast, that would be great. Feel free to reach out and I'm happy to connect and share ideas on how to get started as well. And then of course, if you're at any of these conferences, you may see me there too. Feel free to say hi.
Awesome. Warren, really appreciate you sharing your thoughts. Looking forward to seeing you at some of the conferences. Thank you for your service with the industry and being part of the NALP board. That's really important for the whole industry. So really appreciate everything you do, Warren.
Thanks for the invitation to be here. I appreciate the conversation, Robert.
Okay. Thank you, Warren. Hopefully that was pure dead brilliant for you today and you got some great Ironman mindset takeaways for your business or your leadership role. This is Robert Clickybeard. Love to get you, your friends, your employees to join us in our future journey. So please subscribe to your various podcast channels. Visit our website, commerciallandscaper.com or wilson-360.com. You could check out our digital courses. You could check out peer groups, coaching, my book, Ironman Mindset for Entrepreneurs. And we just want you to have a pure, dead, brilliant day. And finally, thanks again to Boss Business Management Software, which is the ultimate cloud-based solution providing comprehensive insights and tools to optimize performance. Join the Boss community today and transform your business so you too can say, my boss is working for me. Cheers, everyone.